everyone. Today I'm going to teach you ISC physics for class 12. So before I go to the topic that has to be taught, so I just want to move to the syllabus. That is very important. So first of all, we discuss about the syllabus. So what are the units that is coming for class 12 syllabus? So I just want to start with the syllabus. You have ISC physics syllabus for class 12. Now in physics, there are total 2 papers. So we have paper 1, and this paper is usually called as theory or written paper. And in this paper, you have total of 70 marks. So in 70 marks, you have to do this paper in 3 hours. So time duration for theory paper is 3 hours. Now the next very important part in paper 1 is the number of units. So let me tell you, there are total 10 units in paper 1. So let me discuss unit by units. So we start with the first unit. So your first unit is electrostatics, or we also call as static electricity. Now this is the unit in which consists of total 4 chapters. So unit 1, we have 4 chapters, followed by unit 2. So next very important unit in physics is current electricity. So in this unit you have total 2 chapters. So combining unit 1 and unit 2, so out of 70 marks you will get 14 marks question. So unit 1 and unit 2 comprises of 14 marks question. Next, we have unit 3. So another very important unit I consider in physics, that is a magnetic effects of current and magnetism. So this unit comprises of 4 chapters. Then we follow to next unit, unit 4. This is another very important unit you learn in details, that is electromagnetic induction and alternating current. So this unit comprises of 2 chapters, followed by unit 5. Unit 5, we have only 1 unit and we have only 1 chapter. The name of the unit is electromagnetic wave. This is also a very important unit I consider in physics also. So if you see, we have total 3 units, that is unit 3, unit 4 and unit 5. That 3 unit comprises of 16 marks. So out of 70 marks, you find 16 marks question mostly from these 3 units. The next unit, that is unit 6. And this is a very important unit, also an easy topic. And this unit is optics. So on optics, we do usually with ray optics and wave optics. So today's lesson, we will start with unit 6, that is optics. Why? Because out of many units, this unit comprises of 18 marks. So it covers 18 marks question out of 70 marks. So how many chapters you find in this unit? The number of chapters are 9. So it covers 9 chapters. So from 9 chapters, you get 18 marks question. Next, we move to unit 7. This unit usually comprises of modern physics. Now unit 7 is usually we have dual nature of radiation and matter. So we study about the relation or nature between the light or radiation and the matter. So this unit comprises of 3 chapters. So we have 3 chapters in unit 7, followed by unit 8. The unit 8 is atoms and nuclei, and this is the unit that is also related to chemistry also, and you find total 5 number of chapters. So if you combine it, so unit 7 and unit 8 comprises of 12 marks question. So out of 70 marks, 12 marks question usually come from unit 7 and 8. Then we have unit 9. Now this is a unit which is based on electronic devices. Now in this unit, we basically discuss about semiconductor devices. So in this unit, we have total 4 chapters. So in this unit, we learn about semiconductor. After that, devices based on semiconductor like transistor, LED, Janot diode, logic gates. These are the topics that you learn in unit 9. So this unit 9 comprises of 8 marks that consist of 4 chapters. Now we have the last unit, that is unit 10, that is communication system. So this unit have only 1 chapter, that means 1 unit, 1 chapter. And how many marks question you get? 2 marks question. That means from paper 1 theory part, out of 70 marks, you find 10 units And this unit has been divided into number of chapters. So if you add how many chapters are there in all, there are total 35 chapters. So in physics for class 12 ISC, we need to cover overall 35 chapters. Now I move to next paper, that is paper 2. Now paper 2 basically comprises of practical examination, then followed by project, and next is maintaining practical file or maintaining laboratory copy. So this paper 2, out of 100 marks, of how many marks? 30 marks. So 70 marks is for theory paper and 30 marks is for paper 2. That comprises of practical examination, project and practical file. Now let me tell you about the practical examination. So out of 30 marks also, practical examination comprises of 15 marks. Now in 15 marks question, you have to do the experiment basically on 2 topics. So one is ray optics, that is a topic I'm going to start today, and next topic is experiment based on current electricity. Now let me tell you, when you do experiment on ray optics, we basically do experiment on lens. One is called convex lens, another is concave lens. And let me tell you, when you do experiment on current electricity, we do experiment on Wheatstone bridge and mostly potentiometer. So these are the 2 important topics in which in ISC practical examination, they usually ask question. So we have 15 marks question in which we do ray optics and current electricity. Next, the next topic is project. So out of 30 marks, 10 marks is for project. Now project is basically based on 3 parts, that is called theoretical project, another is called working model, and the third one is investigatory project. But out of 3, you have to choose any one. So you have to do any one topic on the projects so that we can do, it comprises of 10 marks. Now when I talk about the theoretical projects, in this particular part, the teacher usually give a certain topic related to the physics and the student usually do the project. Now next one is working model. So you have to choose any one topic and you have to prepare a model on this topic, on the topic. The next one is investigatory project. So this is another project in which under the guidance of subject teacher, you have to prepare an experiment. So this project that comprises of 10 marks. Now let me go to the next very important part, that is the distribution of marks in paper 1, that is in physics. Now I told you just now, physics comprises of 70 marks, but from the year 2018, the council has spread a new pattern of question. That means in ISC we will follow new question pattern. So that part I'm going to discuss. So there are total 22 questions. So you have to attempt all the questions. That means all questions in the question paper are compulsory. The next part I'll tell you. In this question paper, you find total 4 sections. So we have section A. Now this section is a multiple choice. So one part is multiple choice. You find 5 multiple choice questions. Each question will carry 1 marks, means 5 question carries 5 marks. Followed by answer in brief. So even in this also you find 7 questions. 1 question carries 1 marks. Next, we go to section B. In section B, you find total 11 questions. 11 questions with 2 internal choice questions. That means in section B, you have a question to choice, but only 2 questions. Any 2 questions you need to do choice. So each question carries 2 marks. So that means 11 questions means you have to attempt total of 22 marks. Next, we have section C. We have 7 questions with 2 internal choice questions. And each question carries 3 marks and total of 21 marks. Now let me tell you, in this particular section you find numerical problem mostly also. You can find derivation also. So we need to focus mostly on section C also. Followed by section C. This is the last section in paper 1 theory. You find total 3 questions. With all questions you find internal choice. That means each question you have internal choice. Now each question carry 5 marks. So that means 3 questions we have total 15 marks. Now I just want to tell you, Usually we use the textbook in our school, but we usually one textbook in our school, but I tell you that other than one textbook that we use in a school, we can use number of textbook, and that books I can call as a reference book. So one of the reference book I consider is Newton ISC Physics. Author is Kumar and Mittal. The publisher is Nagin Prakashan. Followed by a complete course in ISC Physics, Volume 2. The author are B.P. Bhatnagar and Ashok Kumar Chawla. So the publisher is Pitamba. Followed by ISC Physics, the author is K.N. Sharma and Samir Kalia. The publisher is Kalyani. And another nice book that I can see is New Simplified Physics. Author is S.L. Arora and the publisher is Danpat Rai and Company. So these are the reference book that I'm presenting you. But other than this reference book, you can go through other books also. Now, I go to the next part. That is the most important part that we are waiting for. That is the topic that we need to discuss today. That means we need to start today. So I told you already that we have total 10 units, but we are going to start with a very important and easy unit, that is Unit 6, that is optics. So in optics, we have two optics. That means optics are basically two types. But before that, I just want to start with what is optics. Now, the optics word related to light. But let me define. Optics is that branch of physics which deals with the study of nature and the property of light. That means what is the nature of light? What property the light shows? That is completely discussed in optics. Now, as for the syllabus and the topic that we concern out there, so we basically focus on two optics out there. That is, optics is ray optics, which is also known as geometrical optics, and another optics is called physical optics, also known as wave optics. Now, let me just tell you about these two optics. As you know that there are a total of how many marks? 18 marks. So we cover 18 marks question with how many chapters? 9 chapters in optics. So today we start with the ray optics, also known as geometrical optics. Now let me tell you about the ray optics or geometrical optics. It is that branch of optics which usually deals with the light which travel in a what line? Straight line. And now light propagation is usually expressed in a straight line in the form of rays. So we basically deal in this particular optics that light travel in a straight line in the form of rays with the help of suitable diagram or geometrical diagram. That's why we also call this ray optics as geometrical optics. Now, let me tell you about the wave optics or physical optics also. Now, physical optics or wave optics is that branch of optics which usually gives the nature of light by saying that light travel in the form of wave. So we basically focus that light travel in the form of wave, and that is the nature of light, one of the nature of light. So let me tell you that geometrical or ray optics, you have 5 chapters, and physical or wave optics, we have 4 chapters. So total 5 plus 4 means 9 chapters that we need to cover. Now, let me start with the ray optics. One of the first chapter that we are going to start, and this is a chapter you have learned even in lower classes also, is called spherical mirror. We are talking about the spherical mirror. So in this particular chapter, we will focus on the objective. So what are the main objectives of spherical mirrors? So in this particular chapter, we start with the terms related to spherical mirror, followed by the relation between focal length and the radius of curvature. These are also the terms. Next is a very important formula that we derive in spherical mirror, and this is a formula with object distance, image distance, and the focal length of a mirror, and that is called mirror formula. And the second last is called linear magnification. So we discuss about the linear magnification also, and lastly we do the numericals. So certain important numericals are there that also we do in this particular chapter. Now, so let me start with the first chapter, that is called spherical mirror. Now, before I go to the spherical mirror, let me tell you the mirror. Usually you know that mirror is a smooth surface, usually made up of glass, in which when the light incident on it usually return back or bounce back after reflecting from the surface. And this particular definition is the definition of mirror. But mirror, as you know, we divide into 2 parts that you have learned in lower class also. One is called plane mirror, and another is called spherical mirror. But we are concentrating on which mirror? Spherical mirror. So we talk about the spherical mirror. So I've written the definition. So what is spherical mirror? It is a part of hollow sphere formed by silvering or blackening inner or outer surface and keeping other surface as reflecting surface. That means when a mirror is formed, one of the surface should be a silvering surface, or we also call as blackened surface, and another surface we case as a reflecting surface. But this is a type of spherical. This is a type of mirror in which it is formed by taking the part of the sphere. So if you take a sphere, hollow sphere, and if you take that part of the sphere by silvering either inner surface or outer surface and keeping other surface, the opposite surface, as a reflecting surface, then it forms a what mirror? Spherical mirror. So spherical mirror we classify basically into two types. One is called concave mirror, that you have learned already also. So types of spherical mirror are concave mirror, and we have another mirror that is called convex mirror. So let me first start with concave mirror. So concave mirror, as I define in this manner. So let me take the sphere. You can see the diagram now. This is a sphere. I'm taking a hollow sphere. So over this hollow sphere, I'm taking that part of the hollow sphere in which I do silvering from the outer surface. You can see there is outer surface, and this surface called silvering or blackening surface. And I keep the inner surface. I'm making an inner surface out there. You can see there's an inner surface. This inner surface is a reflecting surface, and this form a what? Concave mirror. So the simple statement of concave mirror out here we can see is it is a part of that hollow sphere which is formed by silvering the outer surface. Silvering the what surface? Outer surface, and keeping the inner surface as a reflecting surface. So this forms the concave mirror. That's why I've given a name out here, that is M1 to M2. This particular part I'm taking as a concave mirror, which is nothing but the part of the hollow sphere. Now we move to the next mirror, that is called convex mirror. So this is also the part of this hollow sphere which is formed this time not by silvering outer surface but silvering inner surface. You can see in the diagram also. This shaded part is the silvering part or blackening part, which is done from the inner surface and keeping the outer surface as a reflecting surface. So this part of the hollow sphere which is formed by silvering from the inner surface and keeping other surface, outer surface as the reflecting surface, usually form the what? Convex mirror. So this is a convex mirror. So this is nothing but the part of the hollow sphere. Now, whether it's a convex mirror or whether it's a concave mirror, the main objective of this mirror is form the images. Now when we come to the image formed by the mirror, there are basically two types of images. As you know that one is called real image, another is called virtual image. But let me tell you just that you have learned a plane mirror. That is a mirror that we use at home. That is a mirror which forms always a virtual image. But today we are going to learn that this spherical mirror form what image? Whether it's from a real image or it form a virtual image. But before we go to the formation of image by this mirror, either convex mirror or concave mirror, it is very important for everyone to know about the terms related to the spherical mirror. So we go to the next part, that is called terms related to spherical mirror. So one of the first term that we are going to learn out there is the pole. So one of the first term in convex or concave mirror we learn about the pole. So let me define what is pole. Pole is a geometric center. Let me tell you again. Pole is a geometric center of a spherical mirror, whether it's a convex mirror or concave mirror. So I just write the statement. It is the geometric center. Geometric center of a spherical mirror. Now I can show with the help of diagram where the pole is, or of spherical mirror usually locates. Now let me do first for concave mirror. Remember that spherical mirror are two types. We already classify. One is called concave mirror, one is called convex mirror. But the pole is defined for both the mirror, whether it's concave or convex. So let me draw the pole of a concave mirror. See, I'm taking a concave mirror, so I'm not taking the whole part of that diagram of concave mirror, I'm taking that part of the hollow sphere which form as a concave mirror. So M1, M2, these are concave mirrors. As I repeat again, this is the outer surface with the silvering surface, and this is the inner surface which has a reflecting surface. Now this is a concave mirror. So if I take this as a concave mirror, we define pole as a geometric center. So for this particular diagram, this point I consider as P, the symbol I'm using pole as P, capital P, and showing almost at the center, geometric center, and this geometric center of this concave mirror is defined as pole. So we can simply see that for concave mirror, this P acts as the geometric center, and that is called pole. But this particular pole can also be expressed for convex mirror. So let me do for convex mirror. Now this is a convex mirror. So I'm taking that part of the hollow sphere and which form a convex mirror. So M1, M2 act as a convex mirror which form the inner surface as a reflecting, inner surface as a silvering surface and outer surface as a what surface? Reflecting surface. So even out here also we define the pole. So this also defined in the same manner. That is, this statement is true for any mirror, any spherical mirror. So this particular part I again express as a pole. So this considered as a geometric center, and this geometric center of this convex mirror is simply defined as pole. Now we move to the next term other than the pole that we defined already, is called the center of curvature. So we define next term that is called center of curvature. Now for this also I used a particular symbol C. So I'm writing C as the symbol for center of curvature. So let me tell you what is center of curvature. As you know that as I define, convex or concave mirror are the part of the hollow sphere. So for every sphere there is a center. So when I define center of curvature, it is defined as the center of the sphere. So center of curvature is the center of a sphere in which a mirror is a part, whether it's a convex mirror or concave mirror. So center of curvature is defined as the center of the sphere in which the mirror is a part. So let me show you with the help of diagram. So for this also we use for both the mirror, one for concave mirror, and I also show for convex mirror. So let me first show for concave mirror. Now you can see again the diagram of concave mirror. I'm marking as M1 and M2. So this is a concave mirror that we already learned. Now for this concave mirror, which is a part of the hollow sphere. So when I take this hollow sphere, so again I'm drawing with a dotted line or imaginary line, just to understand that this is a hollow sphere and this part, this particular part is a concave mirror. So for every sphere there is a what point? Center point. I consider this is the center point of this hollow sphere, and this center point is defined as the center of curvature. Why? Because it is the center of the hollow sphere in which the mirror is a part. This mirror is a part. That's why this is called center of curvature. So we can see for concave mirror, this is the center of curvature. I can show again for convex mirror. So we are doing for convex mirror now. You know, this is a convex mirror, which is also a part of the hollow sphere. So I'm marking this as M1 and M2. So I'll draw the imaginary line to show that this is a hollow sphere. So this is a hollow sphere and this is a convex mirror. So for this hollow sphere also we have a what? Center point, and we mark by letter C. And this center of a sphere in which the mirror is a part, that is for convex mirror, is also called center of curvature. That means we can define center of curvature not only for concave mirror, we can define for convex mirror. So you can see that in convex and concave mirror, the difference is that center of curvature for concave mirror usually lies on the left side, where convex mirror is usually lies on the which side? Right side. So this is the second term that I defined. Now the third term I'm going to define is called radius of curvature. So the third term that we are going to define is called radius of curvature. And for this I also mark by the symbol R. So that means every term is expressed by the symbol. So I'm writing radius of curvature as the simple symbol I'm using as capital R. Now, what is radius of curvature? So we can define radius of curvature in a simple manner, but I can define in two ways. Let me give the first definition. Radius of curvature is also defined as the radius of the sphere. Is a radius of the sphere in which the mirror is a part. Because we know that sphere has a center point and sphere has radius. That means that radius of the sphere in which a mirror is a part, whether concave or convex mirror, that define the radius of curvature. But radius of curvature can also be defined in another definition. That is also the distance between pole and the center of curvature. So I can show with the help of diagram also. So let me take first for concave mirror. So remember it, when I define the terms, we define for each mirror. That means for concave mirror, also for convex mirror. So let me do first for concave mirror. So now this is a concave mirror. So I'm taking M1, M2 as a concave mirror. Now, one of the first term I already defined, that is the pole. I can mark by letter P. This is the pole, that is the geometric center of concave mirror. Then I already defined the center of curvature, and I mark by letter C. You can see and in the second diagram also, that means C is the center of curvature, P is the pole. Now this center of curvature is the center of the hollow sphere. Now when I define radius of curvature, it is simply defined as the radius of the sphere in which the mirror is a part. Or we can also define as the distance between pole and the center of curvature. Because this distance, that is the distance between pole and center of curvature, also act as the radius of the sphere or hollow sphere. So let me join the line between P and C, this distance as marked by letter capital R. So I can use capital R as the symbol for radius of curvature. So this distance is marked as radius of curvature. This is for concave mirror. I can do for convex mirror. Now you know the shape of the convex mirror? This is the shape of convex mirror. So for this convex mirror also we have the center point, the geometric center. This geometric center is called the pole. We already designated this by the symbol P. Now for this convex mirror also we have the center of curvature. So let me mark somewhere out here. So C is the center of curvature, P is the pole. So again, if I measure the distance between pole and center of curvature, that measures the radius of curvature. So this distance between pole and center of curvature is marked as the radius of curvature. Now this radius of curvature and this radius of curvature, if you see, both have a distance that measure from pole to center of curvature, but when we see the diagram, this radius of curvature for concave mirror, we basically see on the left side of a mirror, and for convex mirror, we see on the which side? Right side of the mirror. Now this is very important because when we deal with the spherical mirror and especially for the formation of image, or whether it's a real image or virtual image, we have to follow the sign convention. That part I'll teach in the next lecture. Now the fourth term that for spherical mirror that we define is called principal axis. Now we define another term which is called principal axis. Now principal axis is actually a straight line or imaginary line that can always pass from the center of curvature and the pole of a spherical mirror. So any imaginary line or straight line that can pass from the center of curvature and the pole of a spherical mirror, that defined as principal axis. Now for this also I can show with the help of diagram for convex mirror and concave mirror. Let me first do for concave mirror. As you know, we are learning the ray optics, so that means this chapter is completely we deal with the diagram, so we need to draw diagrams. So concave mirror. So this is a concave mirror with M1 and M2. Now we know this is a pole, this is a center of curvature, and this is a pole. So if I join a line, I can join an imaginary line, or you can join a straight line also, bold line, no problem. This line act as principal axis. So for concave mirror, there is a line, straight line passes from center curvature to the pole. This line acts as what axis? Principal axis. Similarly, I can draw for convex mirror. Sorry, I'm making a convex mirror. So this is convex mirror. So we mark as M1 and M2. Now for this also we have a pole, we have a center of curvature. Now for this I'll draw a line, again a straight line that passes from the center of curvature and the pole, and this line acts as the principal axis. I can consider this line also as what? Principal axis. So whether it's for concave mirror or convex mirror, this principal axis nothing but as a straight line that passes from the pole and the center of curvature. So I've made a principal axis for both convex and concave mirror. Now we go to next even very important term, number 5, and this is aperture. So aperture is also defined as a diameter of the edges of a mirror or periphery of a mirror. So every mirror has a edges or a periphery, and this diameter of the edges of a periphery of a spherical mirror is defined as aperture. So this aperture also plays a very important role. So let me tell you why. Because this aperture determines whether the mirror is thick mirror or thin mirror, and that is also very much required when we come to the expression like mirror formula. So aperture is defined in this manner. It is the diameter of the edges, or I can use the word periphery of a spherical mirror. So I can show with the help of diagram. So let me take concave mirror with M1, M2. This is concave mirror. Now for this concave mirror, I take this point A1, M1 and M2 as the edges. So I can draw a imaginary line. This line acts as a diameter, and this line is basically called as the aperture. So an aperture is the diameter of the periphery or the edges of a concave mirror. This is concave mirror. Now we can do for convex mirror also. This is convex mirror with M1 and M2. These are the silvering surface, that is the surface, blackening surface which is done from the inner surface and keeping outer surface as the reflecting surface. So even out here also I can draw a dotted line which acts as a diameter of a spherical diameter of the edges of a spherical mirror, and this line also acts as a aperture. So these are the aperture for concave mirror and convex mirror. Now the next important term that I'm going to define, that is number 6, is called principal focus. The next term is principal focus. Now for this I usually mark by letter F. So I'm using capital F as the symbol for principal focus. So principal focus can also be defined for each mirror, each spherical mirror, one for convex mirror and one for concave mirror. So let me define for concave mirror. So for concave mirror, let me define principal focus. So I'm marking this as M1, I'm marking this as M2. Now let me draw the line. And you know this line is called principal axis. There is a pole which is nothing but the geometric center of the spherical mirror, and this is the center of curvature, that is the center of the sphere. Now when we define principal focus, we consider the rays that incident on the mirror. Now we take this ray as incident ray, but we take the incident ray in such a way so that it light incident parallel to the principal axis. So this is the principal axis, so light incident parallel to the principal axis. So let me draw the incident ray. Now this is incident ray. Okay, let me do from this side also. This is incident ray. So this ray is known as what ray? incident ray. So I'm taking two incident ray which is striking on the spherical mirror, on the reflecting side of the spherical mirror or concave mirror, where the light incident parallel to the what axis? Principal axis. Now what happened when it incident at this point? This point is called as point of incidence. Means where the light incident at a point on the spherical mirror, that point is called point of incident. So what happened when the light incident in this manner? Light definitely reflect because it's a mirror. But when when the light reflect, it always pass from a point which lies on the principal axis. And that particular point I'm going to draw in the diagram. That point is called principal focus. So let me draw the rays, the ray known as refracted ray. So I'm putting arrow. So let me tell you one important part. When we do the ray diagram, it is very much required to put arrow. So because without arrow, your diagram is incomplete. So there is an arrow I put. One is for incident ray, and this ray, which has already is already striking from the mirror and has returned back in the same medium, is called reflected ray. This is called reflected ray. But this reflected ray will pass from a point, and that point lies on the principal axis of this concave mirror, and this particular point is called principal focus. So we can define principal focus for concave mirror. So let me define principal focus for concave mirror. It is a point lies on the principal axis of a concave mirror, such that when the light incident parallel to the principal axis, after reflection, so light has reflected, it always passes from this point, and that particular point is called principal focus. But one important part, I tell you, when we come to the reflection of light takes place for the spherical mirror. Now, spherical mirror is a smooth surface, and when we take the smooth surface, definitely it follows the laws of reflection. And you know there are how many laws? Two laws of reflection. One is called the incident ray, the reflected ray, and normal at the point of incidence. And there is another law that is called the angle of incidence. Is always equals to the angle of reflection. Now for this, let me just add another part in this particular diagram. That is, this is the point of incidence, no doubt. Now, how you know that this light has been reflected this side? So in order to know the light has been reflected in a particular direction, we must have to draw a line that is called a normal. So normal for this spherical mirror is always drawn from the point of incidence to the center of curvature. So I can show with help of a dotted line just to understand this line is a normal. So I've shown in the diagram this line, a dotted line I've joined from point of incidence to the center of curvature, always act as normal when we take the light incident on the spherical mirror. Now you can see this is the incident ray, this is a reflected ray, and definitely it follows the laws of reflection, which means it makes certain angle out there, and this angle is called angle of incident, and this makes certain angle, and this angle is called angle of reflection. And details of this part I do in the next topic also, but just keep in mind this is the angle of incident and this is the angle of reflection, and both the angles for this spherical mirror are always equal. So this shows that the principal focus is always lies on the principal axis of a concave mirror. Now I can come to another term related to this particular principal focus. Let me define that term also as focal length. Now we mark focal length by small letter f. Now no confusion out here. Principal focus, capital P, is capital F, sorry. Focal length is small letter f. So focal length we can also express in the diagram. So what is focal length? Let me define focal length. Focal length is nothing but the distance that measures from pole to the focus. So if you measure the distance from pole to the focus, that defined as focal length. So let me even write the definition of focal length. This is the distance between pole and the focus. Pole and the focus of a what mirror? Spherical mirror. That means it is true for concave mirror and convex mirror. With this definition, I can show what is the focal length in this particular diagram. This is concave mirror. Now you see this distance. I can mark with the diagram with the letter F, and this distance is called focal length. So for your understanding, I can write PF. See, PF, P means pole, F means focus. So that distance measure the focal length. That is PF equals to F, express what length? Focal length. But remember this, we define only for concave mirror. So still we can define for convex mirror. So let me define for convex mirror also. Now I can define principal focus and focal length for convex mirror. Now again I'll take convex mirror. Now you know the shape of convex mirror. This is convex mirror with the two edges marked as M1 and M2. Again for this also I'll mark the geometric center, which is P, and there is a center of curvature. I'll mark with C, and I can draw a straight line that passes from the center of curvature and pole of a convex mirror. This line is called principal axis, no doubt. Now for convex mirror, to define principal focus, we can define in the same manner as concave mirror. But for this also, we consider the light that has to incident on the convex mirror as parallel to the principal axis. Now, one thing you can observe in this both the diagram that I'm going to do, that is, whenever we consider that light has to incident on a mirror, we take the light incident from the left side. So this is an assumption that is taken that light has to incident from the left side. So again I take, there's an incident ray that incident on the mirror from the which side? Left side. So this is the incident ray. So one thing you have to keep in mind, when we define principal focus, the incident ray must be parallel to the what axis? Principal axis. Now even in also we can define principal focus. So if this is the incident ray, this point act as point of incident. If this is the principal incident ray, this point act as point of incidence. So what happened? Definitely this spherical mirror reflect the light in the same direction, but for the reflection, to know in which direction it reflected, so we need to draw a line, and this line is called what? Normal line. So I draw a normal line, and you know normal line is always a line that is joined from center curvature to the point of incidence, but I have extended the line. So this line act as normal line. So I can show with the help of diagram. This line is called normal line, or normal. We can simply call as normal. Now what happened? When this is the incident ray, the light reflect in the same direction, and this become the reflected ray. So this is reflected ray. This is incident ray. Again we follow the laws of reflection. The angle of incidence, there will be angle of incident out here, and the angle of reflection, both the angle will be equal. Now looking at this diagram, light reflecting this direction, and out here also I can draw a normal line to know that the light reflect in a particular direction. So this is also a normal line. A normal we can simply call. So this is the incident ray. Definitely the light reflect in the same direction. So it reflect in this direction. So this makes the angle of incidence. This makes the angle of reflection. But looking at this diagram, this ray diagram, this reflected ray are not meeting at a point, where you can see in concave mirror, your reflected ray were actually meeting at a point, and that point we define on the principal axis as focus. But to define principal focus for convex mirror, these rays are going, or they are diverting from a certain point. But in order to make this ray to meet at a particular point, I can draw a backward line. So from this point of incident, I can draw a backward line, and it will meet somewhere out at this point, and I can draw a backward line from this point also, that also meet at certain point. This point now is defined as principal focus. Now you can clearly see in the diagram, principal focus for convex mirror lies on the right side, where principal focus for concave mirror lies on the which side? Left side. Now this point, the principal focus, that can also define for convex mirror. So I'll define now. It is a point lies on the principal axis of a convex mirror, in which when the layer of light incident parallel to the principal axis, after reflection, the ray appears to come from this point. That means the point in which the reflected ray appears to come from that point, that particular point defined as principal focus. Now, principal focus even we define for concave mirror, even we define for convex mirror. So related to this principal focus, we have already defined focal length. That means this focal length is even for convex mirror. So we can clearly see in the diagram. I can mark this distance P and F in the diagram as principal focal length. So PF is marked as small letter f, and that also measures as focal length. Now let me tell you one important part. If you observe this ray diagram, the distance that we measure, like focal length we measure, and we measure the radius of curvature also, these distances that we measure from the pole. That means whatever distance you measure, in a spherical mirror, we have to measure from the pole. So that's why pole distance measured from pole to the focus is simply called as focal length, and even we learned already the distance measured from pole to the center of curvature, even as radius of curvature. Now, looking at these two particular spherical mirror, concave mirror and convex mirror, focal length for concave mirror lies on the left side, focal length for convex mirror, which lies on the which side? Right side. So I repeat again, this left side and right side of any spherical mirror is actually expressed by the sign convention. So sign convention part I definitely do in the next class. Now today, in today's lecture, we learn about what is spherical mirror, and the next part that we learn is called the terms related to spherical mirror. So I would like to conclude today's lecture of outer learning. Thank you so much.
Hello everybody. Welcome to the first class online for accountancy. Accountancy for 2021. The syllabus for accountancy and the marks bifurcation goes like this. 100 marks is bifurcated as project for 20 marks and the paper comes for 80 marks. Now in the project, we have to make 2 presentations and the topics are very much there in the text. The 80 marks paper is bifurcated. Section A is for 60 marks and section B or section C. There are 2 options given to the children. One is the management accounting and the other is the computerized accounting. That is for 20 marks. The 60 marks bifurcation is theory comes for 12 marks, which is compulsory, and for 48 marks, we have the practical questions. In this, we have 7 practical questions. We have to attempt any 4. So this is the basic outline of how the paper comes. Now, without much delay, let us start with the first chapter, which is partnership. Now, what basically is partnership? In class 11 accountancy, we've studied about sole proprietorship, we've studied about depreciation, but the coming up of 2 associates and forming a group is partnership. So basically, partnership is a relationship between persons who have agreed to share the resources of a business and which is carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. When 2 people, they come into partnership, they have a basic agreement. Now, the agreement can be in writing, the agreement is oral either. Now, it's not compulsory to get a written agreement, but it's always good if there is a written agreement. Now, partnership deed is a written agreement amongst partners so that in future, if they come across any disputes, it can be sorted out. Now, as I already said that written agreement is not a compulsion. So in case the partners do not have a written deed, what are the rules that they would be following? The first one says the profit and losses to be shared amongst partners would be equal. no interest on capital to be allowed, no to the partners, no salary to be given to the partners, no commission to be given to the partners, no interest on drawings to be charged from the partners. The next rule says interest on loan. Now, this is an important point which children should emphasize on. That is, interest on loan is to be provided at the rate of 6% per annum. Now, what is interest on loan? Supposingly, a partner, besides giving his share of capital, also advances some amount to the partnership firm. That is the loan granted by the partner. Now, on that loan, the partner is supposed to get a certain amount of interest. And what is the percentage? The percentage is 6% per annum. Now, interest on loan is a charge against profit. Whether the firm incurs profits, whether the firm does not incur profit, interest on loan has to be provided to the partners. The last rule says, new partners cannot be admitted unless and until agreed upon by all the partners. That means there has to be a consent amongst all the partners that yes, we are allowing a new partner to come in. Now, this is a very important aspect because in the question, many a times the rules are not given. And if the rules are not given, these are the rules we need to follow. Now, the topics that we will be covering up in this chapter is profit and loss appropriation account, how to calculate interest on capital and interest on current accounts, how do we calculate interest on drawings, salary or commission to be given or transferred to the partners, amount to be transferred to the general reserve, partners' capital and current account, how do we make those, past adjustments and guarantee of profit. Now, there is a vast amount of syllabus which is covered in this chapter, and these are the basics. If a child knows these basics, he will be able to carry on with the coming chapters because partnership has 6 chapters and all these 6 chapters are interrelated. So this is the fundamental chapter which we tend to know. नर्वस हो जाती मैं उसको देख के और भी.
You think that he is a student?
Yeah. He'll learn the whole accounts till the time he is there. Okay, sir. Thank you. So, topics to be covered in this chapter. The first part would be the profit and loss appropriation account, interest on capital and current accounts, interest on drawings, salary or commission to be given to the partner, amount to be transferred to general reserve, partners' capital and current accounts, past adjustments and guarantee of profits. Now, this chapter is very elaborate, so we need to focus on each and every point specifically. To start with, profit and loss appropriation account. Now, in class 11th, we studied final accounts in the sole proprietorship, where we studied the trading account, the profit and loss account, and the balance sheet. Now, trading account, profit and loss account, and the balance sheet. Now, what is profit and loss appropriation account? In the trading account, we got the gross profit. The profit and loss account gave you net profit. Now, sole proprietorship, there is one owner. So, he takes away the complete amount of net profit. But here, we do not have one person who's the owner. There are 2 people involved or more than 2 people. So, how do we appropriate these profits? How do we appropriate these profits amongst the partners? That is very important. So, what is P&L appropriation account? P&L appropriation account is an extension of profit and loss account, whereby the profits which are generated in the profit and loss account, how are they supposed to be apportioned amongst the partners? Now, out of the profits which the partnership firm earns, the profit gives interest on capital, the profit gives salary, the profit, from the profit we transfer amount to the general reserve, we give commission to the partners, and we charge interest on drawings from the partners. And ultimately, whatever is left towards the end, that is transferred to the partners' capital in the proportion of whatever ratio has been agreed upon them, or in case there is no ratio, it has to be shared equally. So, profit and loss appropriation account is an extension of profit and loss account. It is a nominal account. Now, the rule for nominal account says you debit all expenses and you credit all gains and income. Now, giving interest on capital is an expense for the firm. Giving salary to the partners is an expense for the firm. Taking out general reserve. Now, what is the basic meaning of general reserve? Out of the net profit, some portion of the profit is kept aside for meeting out contingencies, for meeting out other related expenses. So, from the net profit, some part is transferred to the general reserve. Then, we give commission to the partners, we charge interest on drawings from the partners, and ultimately whatever is left, this is known as the residual profit, or it is known as the divisible profit. It is transferred to the partners' capital in the ratio of the profits which have been agreed to share amongst by them. So this was regarding the P&L appropriation. Now, how to make this account, unless and until you know how to calculate the interest on capital, how to charge interest on drawings, how to calculate commission. So these are the nitty-gritties of the profit and loss account, which we need to know before we solve the profit and loss account. So this is the first main account which we will be preparing in the first chapter. Now, interest on capital is the next topic which we will be taking up, because unless and until we know how to calculate interest on capital, we will not be able to make the P&L appropriation account. Now, interest on capital, there are certain basic rules which we need to follow. Interest on capital is chargeable to a firm to the extent of available profits only, since interest on capital is an appropriation of profit. Now, what is appropriation of profit and what is charge against profit? These are two aspects we have to understand. Charge against profit and what is appropriation. Charge is the expense should be treated like an expense, means we have to give it to the partner irrespective of the profits earned or not. But appropriation is if the firm earns profit, in that case we will be giving interest. If the firm doesn't earn profit, we will not be giving interest to the partners. Now, interest is given to the partner only if there is a credit balance in the capital. Now, what is credit balance? What is debit balance? Supposingly, there are two partners, A and B. A has invested 1 lakh rupees, and at the end of the year, we find that B's balance is 20,000 on the negative side. That means it's a debit balance. So, interest will be given to A on the credit balance. The interest is never given on the debit balance. Next point says, interest is always given on the opening balance of the capital account. Now, this is also very important because in the previous years, we've seen questions coming. The closing balances of the capitals are given. But the child feels that it's a very simple question. He quickly calculates interest on that balance, which turns out to be wrong. So, interest needs to be calculated on the opening balance of the capitals. Next is interest on current account to be given or charged only if it is mentioned in the question. Supposingly, a capital account has capital balances and current balances, but the question is silent about giving interest on the current balance. So we will not be giving interest on the current account. But if the question says you have to give interest, we will be giving interest on the current account. That is how it goes. Now, a simple concept of how to calculate opening capital in place of closing capital is given in the question. Supposingly, the closing balance of capital is given. So, closing capital balance is given. In the closing capital balance, we need to add back the drawings. We will add back the drawings and we will deduct their share of profits during the year. Profits need to be deducted, and at the end, whatever we get, that is the opening capital. Now, this is a very important concept where children usually go wrong. The good ones also tend to go wrong because they are in a hurry to calculate interest. They think the answer is very simple and they forget to follow this step. So, we will not forget this, that when closing balances are given, you first need to calculate the opening balance, and then on this opening balance, we calculate the interest on capital. Now, there are certain journal entries. In fact, the first chapter has many journal entries, and the focus of the board exams, they basically ask journal entries these days. So how to go about with the entries? There are two cases, the opening entry and the closing entry. Now, these entries are there for all the aspects, whether be it interest on capital, be it salary, be it commission, be it interest on drawings. So, the opening entry for interest on capital will be interest on capital account debit to partner's capital account. Now, you must be wondering, interest on capital or current? What is the basic difference between capital and current? Now, capital accounts basically are in two categories. We can make the capital accounts. One, when the capitals are fixed, and the other, when the capitals are fluctuating. Now, in case the capitals are fixed, fixed means there is no change in the capital. In case the capitals are fixed, we have to prepare two accounts. One account is a capital account, the other account is a current account. These are partners' capital and partners' current account. But in case the capitals are fluctuating, we just have to prepare one account, which is the capital account of partners. So, when I talk about partners' capital account or partners' current account, I mean to say that the capitals are fixed. Fixed means the initial capital that has been invested by the partners, that should be untouched. That should remain as it is. And all the other aspects come into the current account. Whereas when we talk about capital account in case of fluctuating method, both these accounts are clubbed together to form a capital account. Fluctuating means changing. Now, let's take a simple example. A has invested 1 lakh rupees in the business and B has invested 2 lakh rupees in the business. Now, these are the opening capitals because these are the investments done by A and B. So, on the opening capital, they will be getting interest. But where will this interest go? Will this interest go in this capital account or current account? This is a question. But when we are talking about the fixed aspect, we mean the capitals are fixed. It should not change. So, the interest which are earned on these capital invested will go in the current account rather than going in the capital account. Vice versa, when we talk about fluctuating capitals, means the capitals keep on changing. So, here, if the investments were 1 lakh and 2 lakhs respectively, whatever interest have been earned by A and B will not go into any other account, it will go into the same capital account. So what I mean to say here is if the capitals are fixed, we transfer the interest to partners' current account. Whereas if the capitals are fluctuating, we transfer the interest to partners' capital account. Now this was the opening entry. The closing entry, whatever interest is provided to the partner is an appropriation of the profit. So the closing entry, profit and loss appropriation account, debit to interest on capital, because whatever account has been opened, it needs to be closed. So it will be closed against the P&L appropriation account. Okay, let us try and solve one simple question which is there. The question is there for you. Let's solve that. Now the question says X and Y are partners having fixed capital of 3 lakh each. X and Y. Now they have a fixed capital. Whenever the word fixed comes into picture, it means we have to prepare 2 accounts. Fixed means we have to prepare 2 accounts. So fixed capitals of the partners were 3 lakhs each. X had 3 lakhs and Y had invested 3 lakhs. They have an opening credit balance of rupees 1 lakh and 2 lakh respectively in their current accounts. As the capitals are fixed, we will have 2 accounts. One is a capital account, the other would be a current account. The current account of X has a credit balance of 1 lakh and Y has a credit balance of 2 lakhs. Now because all the balances are credit, each and every partner, they are going to get interest on capital. Now interest is given in the question at the rate of 6% per annum. So 6% of 3 lakh is 18,000. 6% of 3 lakh again is 18,000 here. And 6% of 1 lakh would be 6,000. And 6% of 2 lakhs would be 12,000. So what is the total amount of interest which the partner would get? The partners would get 18,000 on their capital balances, 18,000 each, and the partner would get on their current balances, they will get 6,000 for X and 12,000 for Y. Now how to go about with the journal entry that we did in the previous question, previous slide. The journal entry would be interest on capital account debited to X's current account. Why did I take current account? Why did I not take capital account? The basic reason is the capitals are fixed. In case of fixed capitals, we do not touch the capital. Whatever changes have to be done, whatever increase, decrease, they go in the current account. So interest on capital account debit to X's current account and to Y's current account. And what are the balance of interest that they are getting? X is getting an interest of 24,000 and Y is getting an interest of 30,000. So overall the interest which is provided by the firm to the partners are 54,000. Now this was the opening entry. We need to close the entry. How do we close the entry? We close the entry by transferring the amount to profit and loss appropriation account. So the closing entry would be profit and loss appropriation account debited to interest on capital. So 54,000 would be transferred to the P&L appropriation account because 54,000 is the interest which is provided to the partners. 36,000 was provided in terms of capital and 18,000 is given to them on their current account. So there are basic questions in your textbook. You have illustrations also. So it'll be easy for you to solve these questions because if these parts are clear, making a P&L appropriation account would be very simple. Now let's move on to the next slide, which talks about the interest on drawings. Now, partners withdraw money in case of difficulties. They draw capital from the business. Now, drawings reduce the capitals of the partners. That means if a partner is withdrawing money from the business, he has to pay certain amount of interest to the firm. Now, interest will be paid only if it is mentioned in the question. If it is not mentioned in the question, we are not paying any interest, we are not charging any interest from the partners in case of interest on drawings. So, there are two methods of calculating interest on drawings. Now, the partners draw equal amounts and the partners withdraw unequal amounts. When the partners draw equal amount, what do we mean by that? It means that every month, supposingly every month, each partner withdraws 1,000 rupees at the beginning of every month. It could be beginning, it could be middle of every month, it could be end of every month. So every month, either in the beginning of every month, the partner withdraws 1,000, the middle of every month, the partner withdraws 1,000, or towards the end of every month, the partner withdraws 1,000. The amount remains 1,000. There is no change in the amount. Now, there is a certain method of doing this. There are certain formulas when the amounts are equal. When the amounts are equal, there are certain formulas. Now, let's do it every month annually. So, what should be the formula? Amount into 12. Why did I do into 12? Because they are withdrawing money every month. So, 1 year comprises of 12 months. So, amount into 12 into rate upon 100 into 6.5 by 12. This is the formula for beginning of every month. Now, where did I get this 6.5 from? I'll explain this basic concept first so that it becomes easy for you to calculate the other amounts like these. Let us start. 6.5, how did I get this? There is a simple formula which says time left after the first withdrawal, time left after first withdrawal plus time left after last withdrawal, and you take the average. We have to divide this by 2. Now let's talk about this formula. Where did I get the 6.5 from? So let's assume the first withdrawal took on 1st April. 1st April is the beginning of the year. So on 1st April, one of the partners withdrew 1,000, and every month, beginning of the year, beginning of every month, he is withdrawing 1,000. So 1st April, 1st May, so like this he goes on. And on 1st March also he withdraws 1,000. What does the formula says? Time left after the first withdrawal. So time left after the first withdrawal is 12 months. How did I get 12 months? If we calculate March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So we are left with 12 months. And time left after the last withdrawal for the year will take place on 1st March. So on 1st March, if the withdrawal has taken place, time left after the first withdrawal is 1 month, from 1st March to 31st March. So 12 plus 1, we divided by 2. So if this comes out to be 13 by 2, which will give you 6.5. So this is how we get 6.5 by 12. So this was a formula for beginning of every month. Like this, we have the formula for middle of every month, end of every month, for 6 monthly and quarterly also. Let's see how the formulas go. So beginning of every month, we understood amount into 12 into rate upon 100 into 6.5 by 12. This was it. For middle, it would be amount into 12 into rate upon 100 into 6 by 12. Now how did I get the 6 by 12? The same method applies. Amount left after first withdrawal plus time left after last withdrawal upon 2. Then end of every month. End of every month would be amount into 12 into rate upon 100 into 5.5 by 12. 5.5 by 12, again the same method. Time left after first withdrawal plus time left after last withdrawal upon 2. Now let me explain this. It will be more clear to you. So time left after the first withdrawal. When did the first withdrawal take place? On 30th April. Why 30th April? The year begins from 1st April. So what is the last day of the first month? It is 30th April. So end of every month will be 30th April and 31st March. So what is the time left after 30th April? It is from May you will start. May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So you are left with 11 months. And time left after the last withdrawal, 0 months. Why? Because the year ends on 31st March. So you don't have any time left. So it is 0. So time left after first withdrawal plus time left after the second withdrawal upon 2. So if you do 11 by 2, this will give you 5.5. This is how we need to calculate these. Okay, now talking about 6 monthly. Now this was annually, we did it for 12 months. We will be doing this for quarterly also, and we would be doing this for 6 months. Now first let us do it for 6 months. And these 6 months would start from 1st October. Starting from 1st October. October, November, December, January, February, March. So 6 months starting from 1st October. Or otherwise, 6 months should be on 30th September, the year should come to an end. If we start from 1st April, the year should come to an end on 30th September. So it will be 6 monthly like that. Now how do we calculate this? Amount into 6. Why 6? Because we are doing it for 6 months. Into rate upon 100 into 3.5 by 12. How did I get 3.5? This is beginning for 6 months, beginning of every month, 3.5. The same formula applies. Time left after first withdrawal plus time left after last withdrawal upon 2. So time left after first withdrawal would be 6. Time left after last withdrawal would be 1 upon 2, which will give you 3.5. Middle of every month, it would be amount into 6 into rate upon 100 into 3 by 12. And end of every month for 6 months would be amount into 6 into rate upon 100 into 2.5 by 12. This is for 6 monthly basis. Now for quarterly, there are 4 quarters in a year. Each quarter comprises of 3 months. There are 4 quarters. The first quarter starting from 1st April to 30th June. Second quarter starting from 1st July to 30th September. Next from 1st October to 31st December. And then from 1st January to 31st March. So these are the 4 quarters. Beginning of every quarter, what would that mean? The amount has been withdrawn on 1st April. The amount has been withdrawn on 1st July. The amount has been withdrawn on 1st October, and the amount has been withdrawn on 1st Jan. So what will be the formula? The formula would be amount into 4. Why did I take 4? Because it is for every quarter. There are 4 quarters, so I have taken 4. Amount into 4 into rate upon 100 into 7.5 by 12. How did I get 7.5 now? 7.5, the same method, time left after first withdrawal. So here time left after first withdrawal is 12 months. Time left after the last withdrawal. How much time do we have? We have 3 months. So it is 12 plus 3, 15 by 2, which will give you 7.5. So this is how we go. And then this was beginning of every quarter. It could be middle of every quarter. How will we do this? Amount into 4 into rate upon 100 into 6 by 12. And the last part, end of every quarter. End of every quarter means you withdraw money on 30th June, you withdraw money on 30th September, 31st December and 31st March. So end of every quarter, the formula would be amount into 4 into rate upon 100 into 4.5 by 12. Now how did I get 4.5? It's simple. Last day of every quarter, so on 30th June was the first withdrawal, so 9 months left, and the last withdrawal was on 31st March. This is the last day of the year, so we do not need to calculate the amount, the time comes out to be 0. So 9 upon 2 will give you 4.5. So these are the basic formulas for calculating interest on drawings. Now annually, half yearly and quarterly. There are certain formulas, but the formulas are simple because you've now understood how to calculate 7.5, 6, 4.5. There is no trick in it. Just we have to remember time left after the first withdrawal plus time left after the last withdrawal divided by 2 will give you these figures. Now talking about unequal amounts. Talking about unequal amounts basically means, let's take a simple example. Supposingly on 1st April, one of the partner withdrew 3,000 rupees. On 1st July, he withdraws 2,000. 1st September, again, he withdraws 2,000. Now the amounts are unequal. They are different. That is why we do not follow the formula method here. We follow the product method here. So on 31st December, let's assume again he withdrew 1,000. And on 31st March, again he withdrew 500. Now how do we calculate it on the basis of product method? So we will have to see that for how long did he use the money which he withdrew on 1st April. He withdrew 3,000 rupees. So he utilized this money for 12 months. Why 12 months? From the beginning of the year till the end of the year would make it 12 months. He withdrew on 1st July 2000. So if he is withdrawing money on 1st July, for how many months is he using the money? July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So that makes it to 9 months. So he is withdrawing this money, using this money for 9 months. On 1st September, so September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So 5 plus 2, 7. 7 months. 31st December, that means he's using this money for 3 months. And 31st March, he is not been using this money because he's withdrawing it on the last day. So how do we calculate this? 12 threes are 36,000. This comes out to be 18,000. This is 14,000. This is 3,000. And this is 0. What is the amount? What is the total amount which comes here? The total amount that comes here is 71,000. The total amount comes out to be 71,000. So what is the formula? Amount into rate upon 100 into 1 by 12. This is the formula which will be applied in case of product method. So whatever interest on drawing needs to be calculated, if it is an unequal amount which is withdrawn by the partner, the formula over here, we don't go for direct formulas. First we calculate what is the total amount utilized, and then we calculate this by applying the simple formula. Into 1 by 12 is very important. So these are the methods. Now, if this is a very important part which I'm going to tell you, if the time of withdrawal is not given in the question, means the date when was the drawing done, that is not given in the question, it becomes mandatory that we will calculate the interest for an average period of 6 months. That means, supposingly 5,000 has been withdrawn during the year. The date is not mentioned and the rate of interest is 6%. So 6% of 5,000 is 300 rupees. So 300 divided by 2, that will be 150. So 150 will be the interest on drawings that will be taken, not 300. Why? Because the date has not been mentioned in the question. This is very, very important, which we tend to forget. So whenever a question related to interest on drawings is asked, we have to understand that interest on drawings, if the dates are not mentioned, has to be calculated for an average period of 6 months. Okay, let us start with a question on interest on drawings. I have taken 3 options. All 3 are different. So let us take it one by one. The first part says, calculate interest on drawings of Mahesh at 5% per annum for the year ended 31st March 2020 in each of the following cases. The first case says, if he withdrew 12,000 in the beginning of every quarter. Now, how many quarters are there? There are 4 quarters. So, 12,000 has been withdrawn 4 times during the year. So, 12,000 into 4. What is the rate of interest? The rate of interest is 5% per annum. So, into 5 by 100. So, this comes out to be into 5 by 100 into 7.5 by 12. Why did I take 7.5? Because it is the beginning of each quarter. Beginning of each quarter, if you calculate as per the formula given to you earlier, time left after the first withdrawal plus time left after the last withdrawal upon 2, we get 7.5. If you calculate this, you get your answer. Now, (40 into 5 into 7.5) will give you the interest on drawings. The second question says, if he withdrew 60,000 during the year, the date of drawing is not mentioned in the question. So if the date of drawing is not mentioned in the question, you take it for an average period of 6 months. So the second question says, 60,000 rate is 5% and you will divide it by 2. So whatever answer comes, that will be your interest on drawings. The third part is, if he withdrew 5,000 at the end of each month, that means he is drawing it for the whole year. So 5,000 into 12 into rate upon 100 into 5.5 by 12. Why has 5.5 been taken? Because he is withdrawing it at the end of each month. At the end of each month, the formula says 5.5 by 12. So after calculating whatever answer we get, that will be the interest on drawings for the partners in all these 3 cases. So in the cumulative question, you have questions like these. You have to first calculate it in your working note, and towards the end you will prepare the P&L appropriation account.
Once in a classroom, a student asked, "What is sociology?" And to this the teacher replied, "It is the subject which shapes human beings, and this subject cannot be seen. Hello children, and welcome to ISC Online Video Lectures. I am Ms. Bidya, and I'm here to help you learn sociology. Let me just quickly rewind that short story I narrated a while back. Once upon a time, do you remember? We all were that student. We all asked that question to ourselves and to the teacher. What is sociology? And like that teacher, our teachers also explained to us the entire subject or the entire study. Now, let me just come to the reply of the teacher. He said, it is the study of the ways in which human beings are shaped by the things we do not see. When he was referring to the things we do not see, the teacher was actually talking about the concept of society. Now, for having taught over almost a decade, I have to admit this, that sociology is one of the most interesting, it is one of the most dynamic, and one of the most popular subjects you will ever come across. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we are studying about the interesting concept of society. All of us have heard about this term called society. When we grow up, when we are old also, people still keep referring to, think about the society, be scared about the society. All of us follow the rules of the society. We know we are being controlled by the society. We all know that society rewards us. Society punishes us. Thus, we know that the society is a powerful entity. But the beauty of society is, like the teacher had replied, it cannot be seen. None of us know the length and breadth of society. None of us know the shape and the color of society. Yet, we believe in the power of society. We feel the power of society. So sometimes I feel that describing society is almost like describing God. When we describe God, don't we use the words such as He is omnipresent and omniscient and omnipotent? Yes, children, in the same manner, society is also omnipresent, it is omniscient, at the same time, it is omnipotent. Potent here referring to the power of society. So the power of society, the power of individuals who form the society, the power of relationships between individuals whom we refer to as the social relationships, this becomes the subject matter of sociology. Now, when you all came to class 11, you all got introduced to the origins and development of society. Most of you have, I hope you all remember the different social groups that you have studied, such as the communities and the associations and crowds, etc. And you ended up with the social problems which are faced by the society. In class 12, it is going to be a different study altogether. Different because here you will study about the various social institutions which shape the society. So let me just draw your attention to, firstly, the scope of the syllabus. The council every year, it launches, it publishes its syllabus for an examination year. So right now it's 2020, so we have to prepare ourselves for the 2021 examinations using the help of the syllabus. So let us quickly go through the scope of the syllabus as given by the council. Firstly, why you have to study sociology? To familiarize the candidates with the basic concepts of sociology and anthropology. Now, there are two subjects. One is sociology and the other one is anthropology. If sociology deals with the present human society, anthropology talks about the early human society. So here we'll be dealing with different cultures, different communities, different problems, changes, developments, which, if you remember what I said in the beginning, this is what makes the subject interesting as well as dynamic. Second is to develop in candidates an understanding of the various forces that constitute social life and social problems. Now, this is again very, very important because we all are going through the situation right now. We are facing a crisis which we had never ever thought about. So problems will keep coming. Solutions are also there. Measures are also there to solve the problem. And as an individual, as a person who belongs to the society, as an individual who believes in the power of the society, we should also come across these various life and also the problems that come along with it. The third one is to create an awareness. Awareness is very, very important. And awareness comes at any level. So especially with you children who are at the age group of 17, 18, etc., sensitizing you is very, very important at this period. So to create an awareness of the process of change and development. We are also acknowledging the fact in sociology that things will change. Nothing is permanent in life. We have to be ready for the changes. And changes can be both good or bad. If you just look at the internet, when initially it came, I think many people were very scared to use it, or many of them thought of the right ways of using it, but somewhere down the line, I think we have also misused the internet. So any change can be for good or also for the worse. But we also have another word called development here. And later in class 12, there is a topic that you deal with called globalization, where we are talking about changes that come for the good. In general, with reference to, now you will be referring to the Indian society. And most of the chapters in class 12, we will be focusing on the Indian society only. When we deal with certain kinship, all right, the chapter called kinship, here also when we are dealing with kinship terms, we have reference to the Indian society. When we deal with this chapter on marriage, we discuss various types of marriages, and also we focus on the marriage rituals in India. When we deal with something like the religion, then again our focus is on naturism or animism, which forms the foundation of some of the Indian religions. Next, to provide candidates with the means whereby they can come to a better understanding of other cultures as well as of their own. Now, again, the study of culture is very interesting. This is what spices up our lives. We will not only learn about our culture. This is not only looking up at ourselves, looking inside, turning towards ourselves, but sociology also tells you to turn outside. Look outside. The world is so beautiful. The world is composed of different groups following different cultures and traditions. And that's what makes the world so colorful. So to understand this colorful world, sociology has also introduced chapters where you will learn about several other cultures. Next is to form in candidates the habit of scrutinizing social assumptions and beliefs in the light of scientific evidence. There is a very interesting chapter called Religion and Society, where you will learn about different faiths, you will learn about different beliefs, right from the theory of religion to understanding the world's major religion. Here we will learn about the different groups and their beliefs. To introduce a deeper study of the subject for the tertiary level. And when we are prepping you up in your class 12 with all these topics, we are actually helping you to take the subject in your higher levels. And dear children, let me tell you, when you are studying, do not study always from an examination point of view. Don't always study because you need to score better grades. Study so that somewhere during your lifetime, that topic which you studied or that chapter which you studied might also be helpful to you. So with this, I end the scope of the syllabus. All right. I would like to use this first class of sociology in prepping you up for your ISC examinations. As you all are aware, right now we are in that juggling phase. We are having to juggle between less time in hand and more work. Sometimes it is very difficult, I know, to balance this equation, like I said, between less time in hand and more work to do. But only if you strategize properly, everything will come into place. So the word is to strategize. Of course, we will have to work at a war footing. Remember, the countdown has already begun. Your examinations are also quite near, and we have lost quite an amount of time. So for this, I have prepared certain things which are going to be helpful to you. First, I would like to begin with the ISC question pattern. Let's look at the ISC question pattern for sociology. The examination is of 3 hours. So you all know, because you all have already sat for the examination in class 11. Unlike class 10, where it was just for 2 hours, and most of the time you got only objective questions, in ISC the questions are very, very subjective in nature. Therefore, your question paper is divided in this manner. I will start from the first one. You have 2 papers. One is paper 1, which consists of 30 marks, project, and the other one is paper 2. Let me come to paper 1 first. In paper 1, which carries 30 marks, you have to do 2 projects. Now the topics for the projects are already there in the syllabus. Your teachers will go through it and will let you know what topic you have to prepare on. So you have to do 2 projects, each carrying 15 marks, which makes it 30. Paper 2. Now let's come to paper 2. In paper 2, which is also called the theory paper, you have the paper out of 70 marks, again divided into the objective section, which is also the compulsory section. You have to answer all the questions from there, will be for 20 marks. And then we come to this section B, the second part of the question paper, which is basically choice based. You will get almost about 8 questions, and from there you have to answer 5. Each question will carry 10 marks, making it 50. So 20 marks from the objective, 50 marks from the choice-based question will amount to 70 marks. So if you add the 70 and the 2 projects, that makes it a full 100-mark paper. So this is the ISC question pattern for sociology, and the 100-mark paper, again I repeat, is for 3 hours. All right, students, I think many of you have watched panel discussions. Right after a cricket match is over, you will see in the studio experts come together and they basically discuss about the match. Or nowadays, immediately after elections, we have the exit polls, which party is going to win, which party did well, which party did not. Or even regarding political speech of any leader, we often have panel discussions in the studio. Today it is not possible, I know, because of the social distancing to come together. So everything is done online, you all are aware of it. And the new word at the moment for such discussions is webinar. Webinar is where you all come together online, away from each other, yet discussing the same thing. Now, what is the motive behind these discussions? The discussions are done basically to find out what went right and what went wrong. But the discussions are very, very necessary. In the same way, the council also has its R&D department. R&D meaning its research and development department. This particular department every year after a board examination is over, they sit together with the same motive to discuss what went right and what went wrong. So after the heated discussion and debate, they come out with a publication called Analysis of Pupils' Performance. What are we discussing here? The performance of the students for that particular year's examination. In this particular analysis, there are certain suggestions that they have given us, which I would like to share with you. So let me come to the analysis. There are two types of analysis which is done by the R&D department. One is the quantitative analysis, and the second one is the qualitative analysis. Now this is very, very important, so I want you to pay attention to this. What is quantitative analysis? In this analysis, basically, the department is trying to focus more on the marks which are scored. So there are comparisons, like let me show here. This is the statistical representation of the quantitative analysis, where the council wants to find out like what was the highest mark scored, or what was the lowest mark scored, or the mean marks that was scored. They also do a comparison like region-wise or state-wise or gender-wise, etc. So it all comes under this quantitative analysis. What we have to focus on is the qualitative analysis. The qualitative analysis consists of three things. One is insight. The department who sits together, they sit with the examiners who provide an insight. They give us a ringside view of the entire performance for that year. So we get an overall view of how the students have performed in that particular year. The second is inputs. Inputs will come specially from the examiners or the teachers who have corrected the paper. Inputs regarding, like they scan, they literally sit through each and every question of that board exams, and then they will tell you in which questions the students were very confused, in which questions the student scored all the marks, etc., or which topics were found a bit difficult, which question was not answered at all. So these inputs are collected from the examiners or the teachers who are correcting the paper. Putting together the insight and the inputs, now this department will give us a feedback, and this is what we have to make use of. The feedback is very, very important, both for the teacher as well as for the students who are going to sit for the examination. The feedback basically contains suggestions. Now, going through the question paper, they basically try to suggest you how to write better answers or how to perform better. And suggestions, let me tell you, are there for the teachers and for the candidates as well. Now, there are suggestions for me as well, so I have to follow that. But the suggestions for the candidates which are there, I would definitely want to share with you, and I would definitely want you to make use of it. So, let's look at the suggestions for the candidates. Remember, children, I have not given it. The council has given it. The R&D department is giving it out to you so that you can use this tool. Let's start with the first one. Strictly follow the scope of the syllabus. This is very, very necessary, because I know we are using some of the textbooks where there are topics which are not there in the syllabus and which you need not learn. Let me repeat again, which you need not learn. So let's strictly stick to whatever the syllabus is asking us to do. Next, be conversant with current affairs. because I spoke about this subject being dynamic because there are some very new and interesting topics that the council has introduced. For example, when it comes to right to education, this is something that we all need to do. Or there are topics like gender issues, where you're discussing rape and we're discussing about the dowry deaths and female infanticide, something that we hear day in and day out, and that you see on television, you watch it on the internet, you read it in the papers, so that general awareness is also required. Be conversant with current affairs, improve your general awareness, which helps in framing detailed answers. Time and again, the council has asked you about, I told you, certain questions like gender issues, where you need not be textual. You do not have to refer to the text all the time. These are something where you can use the answers, all right? You can make the answers better by using references of movies or books or certain discussions or something that came out in the papers, etc. And believe me, this is really going to help you in scoring good marks. Next, be thorough with your definitions and comparisons. If you just scan through any ISC paper for any year, you will see at least there will be 2 to 3 definitions. So please be prepared for it. Next is comparisons. Now, comparisons also are very, very important. Why? Because normally you get to find out the differences between certain concepts. And in sociology, we have these terms which are similar sounding in nature. I think in English we refer to those words as homonyms, which sound the same, all right? But you need to make it, you need to find out the differences, and most of the children get confused here. For example, if you have to find out the differences between exogamy, endogamy, polygyny, polygamy, amotid, avunculate. So in these similar sounding terms, I think the best way to learn is to write it down, to do your revision with your written work. Next is underline all the key terms. Again, keywords are very, very important. Helps the examiner also, and give proper subheadings, especially when you're writing answers on the functions of family, because very specifically the council tells you, give us 4 functions of family, give us 2 functions of religion and 3 dysfunctions of religion. So to make your answer look better also, then it's very important that you give the proper subheadings as well. Next, engage in regular written revision. I have heard it from most of the candidates that they have learned, they've spent hours and hours in preparing a lesson. But when it comes to writing, they cannot memorize. So the only way out is to please write and study. And this will really help you. You can write the definitions, especially for objective questions and all that. If you do regular written practice, then you will definitely get the hang of it and you can definitely crack your examinations later. Essay type answers. Now this becomes very boring for the examiners to correct, especially because if everything is wrapped up in one single paragraph. So just to give a better presentation, the layout has to be good, all right? So the suggestion that has come from the council is the essay type answers must be written with an introduction and conclusion. So I always call it the IBC formula. I starting for introduction, few lines, 2 or 3 lines will do. B meaning the body, the main part, whatever is being asked. And last but not the least, again in 2 to 3 lines, you can wrap up or wind up your answer, making it the conclusion. So this IBC formula will definitely help you in giving a very, very good presentation. All right. Now that let's just recap. I have prepped you up on the scope of the syllabus. I prepped you up on the question pattern. I also spoke to you about the analysis of the pupil's performance and also the suggestion that have come from the council. Let us start from the very first chapter, which is called the social institutions. From the year 2015, 2015, the syllabus changed. So, for us who have been teaching regularly, there are some chapters which have been merged, like almost 4 to 5 chapters have been merged and turned into a single chapter. Some topics were scrapped off, they were just taken. Some old topics which were scrapped off were reintroduced. New topics have also come, and thereby from 2015, the syllabus of sociology has been totally changed. Why am I saying this is because once there was no chapter called social institutions. Even if you were studying about social institutions, yet the definition, meaning, features of social institution was not there. So this has been introduced only from the year 2015, which means the candidates had to sit for an examination in 2016. So let's look at social institution. The council tells you that you just have to learn 2 things from the social institution. One is the meaning and definition of social institution, and the second one is the features of social institution. So let me draw your attention towards the definition of social institution. Let me just read out. A social institution is a complex, it's abstract, complex, integrated set of social norms organized around the preservation of a basic societal value. Definition of social institution comes for 2 marks. Define social institution. And this is what you're expected to write. But let me explain it to you in a simpler form. Social institutions are nothing but those organized groups. For example, a police station is a social institution. It maintains law and order. The school is an institution. It is giving you that, it's providing you with all the education facilities, etc. The court is an institution. So it is nothing but a group which has its own rules and regulation. The school has its own rules and regulation. You go to an ATM, you will see there's a sticker outside every ATM where rules and regulations will be written. You go to a bank, rules and regulations are there too. So therefore, these groups have certain rules and regulations. And what is the purpose of these rules and regulations? To preserve the societal value, meaning to preserve the social order. We do not want chaos in the society. We do not want any kind of confusion in the society. We want discipline and we want order. So the function, the role of maintaining order in the society is performed by the social institutions. If you just flip through the first few pages of the chapter, then you will come across, in short paragraphs, you will see something on kinship and marriage and family and religion, political institutions, etc. What I normally do is, I do not go through that first because later you are doing each chapter in detail. You're doing kinship in detail, you're doing political organization in detail, you're doing economic organization in detail. That is why initially my strategy is to skip the summarized version. What I do is I teach the entire detailed content, and last when I'm revising, when the children already know about that social institution, so we just go back to that initial start of that chapter where we are just recapping whatever we studied. So therefore, I've just made a very rough diagram about a social institution, integrated. Each one is related to the other. And then the basic idea is, again, to preserve the social order. Now, there are different types of social institutions: kinship, marriage, family, religion, political organizations, which form the content of your study. All right, children. So now that I have just ended with the types of social institution, like I had promised before, this video lecture I'm going to use specially for prepping you up. In my next video, I'm definitely going to start with kinship, where we are going to look at the syllabus once again. We will look at the various types of kinship and also the changes that the kinship has gone through. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay indoors, and save lives. Thank you.